Okay y'all, I am ready to be cancelled. Hi, welcome back to my channel. First of all, no hate to any human or alien or animal, no humans were hurt while the making of this video. But y'all really need to admit these. If you are someone who can't take others' opinion or are sensitive, then you may click off. You should subscribe so you can unsubscribe later. Now let's start. Please stop saying X or Y idol is gay or lesbian or a part of the LGBTQ community. Yeah, it's wrong and disgusting to assume someone's sexuality. It might be okay in the West, but as far as I know, it's a very controversial topic in Korea that could get you cancelled, and we have seen that with the idols that came out to be a part of this wonderful community. It's not only wrong to idols but to the people who are actually a part of this. I mean, if they are gay, let them be and not assume it. They deserve to live like a normal human and have their choices. You're just making it awkward for them and their group members. Just put yourself in their place and imagine if someone from your friend group starts shipping you and another person of the same gender just because you both are very close. Would you like it? It would make things awkward between you, in fact, even if it's not your fault. Then put them in your place. You're not proving them to more close than they are, or what, you're rather making things worse and awkward for them. K-pop stans are so weird with online fan calls. Why are you asking grown adults to bark, meow, flirt with you, confess to you? Are you completely brain dead? Stop standing companies. I've seen this happen with BH the most often, so companies are not angels. Island was heavily criticized for bad work conditions. Big hit family concert was made stupidly expensive. BTS brand is getting milked to the every last drop. For profit, capitalist companies are not angels, and that's okay. Just don't treat them like they are gods and angels. People love to hate SM for anything, but no other company is doing it like SM. It seriously feels that people are willing to give credit when credit is due to any K-pop company except for SM. Yes, SM deserves to be criticized for many things. The lack of protection for their idols' privacy and their treatment of them are the two main ones. But, at the same time, it seems that no one is giving credit to SM when they do things right, at least not here in Korea. SM is the one that is re-uploading their first-gen groups M/V in better quality. SM is the one that is remaking their first-gen groups song for a new audience to listen to. Out of the big three, SM is the only one that is showing some type of respect to their first-gen idols. Don't tell me that you wouldn't love to see groups from the same company like Wonder Girls and Miss A and Twice and ITZY, 2NE1 plus Blackpink, 4 Minutes plus, G, Idol, 2PM and GOT7 plus SKZ, and many more combinations, all of them releasing original songs. And yet, SM is the one that makes their artist collaborate between them and releases original songs. SM is the one that has given 2 years in a row free online concerts for anyone to see. A concert that lasts 3 hours and has many performances from almost all idols from the company. SM is the one that can have a group like Got the Beat, where you have members from all 4 generations of K-pop. SM is the one that connects all their idols with a whole new concept. SM is the one that can have a group with the concept of NCT and make it successful. SM is the one that takes risks both in their concepts and songs. No other company puts songs like Zimzalabim, Tempo, I Got a Boy, Sticker, Next Level, etc. Experimental music is more common in K-pop now, because SM is the one that has been doing it since the TVXQ days. Yet, everyone criticizes SM music every time they release a new song. Here is the thing, SM idols and the company's successes and their originality doesn't take away anything from your faves, but then some people disregard the importance of SM and their idols in the K-pop industry. So that way they can give more credit to their faves, when the reality is K-pop wouldn't be what it is today without SM. Call me an SM stan all you want, I don't care, but remember this, if you want to criticize any K-pop company all day long, fine, do it, but if you are not willing to give credit when credit is due and recognize when a company does something good/right, then that just makes you a hypocrite. Idols' birthdays are taken too seriously by fans. Imagine spending thousands of dollars renting buses, ads, hosting fan cafes, and events, and buying overpriced birthday merchandise for a stranger you have no blood connections. K-pop stans are probably more obsessed with birthdays than the idols themselves. I mean, if you have this much of spare money, then just donate it. But who am I to tell you what to do with your money, so go ahead and waste it. I don't understand the hype around Amber Liu. As respectfully as I can put this, Amber has so much entitlement for someone who isn't very talented. I used to feel bad for Amber and thought the way she was treated was terrible, but the way she keeps victimizing herself and dragging the K-pop evil agenda on and on is tiring, to say the least. The amount of times she's tried to blame SM for her lack of success is baffling. If SM thought she could have thrived as a soloist, then she would have gotten a solo debut just like other idols in SM have, Taeyeon, Taemin, and Baekhyun for example. If SM was truly hurting her, she's been free for a while now and she has been a former F.X. member on her back. If her music is good, why hasn't it been selling? I don't have to look far for a comparison. Girls' Generation member Tiffany has completely separated herself from SM. She has a loyal fanbase and continues to gain new fans every time she releases something and has enjoyed moderate success. She's not topping Billboard charts as Girls' Generation does, but her view count isn't shabby and she had a successful bus tour. Why hasn't Amber been able to do the same? I feel like Amber victimizes herself and trashes the K-pop industry constantly because she wants attention, doing interviews for American gossip rags so they can circle jerk at the horrors of the Korean music industry. As K-pop is the only music industry in South Korea offers, it's not like K-hip-hop and K-R&B exist, because it's so other compared to America, the land of the free. Yes, it is important that attention is brought to the negative side of the K-pop industry, and that would be a valuable argument if she was raising awareness in Korea. But that's not what she's doing. She's giving gossip fodder for trashy American tabloids to feed the overly simplistic, at best, and xenophobic, at worst, views of much of the American entertainment industry. Holding someone accountable does not mean bullying them, sending them death threats, and or condemning them to be horrible people. Girl, I did not just see someone tell Felix that he deserves to get hung because he sat inside a tent and smiled at the camera because that's cultural appropriation. Like are you right in the head? Are we good over here or nah? Also like imagine Jisung's anxiety right now cause of y'all's nasty personalities and mean comments. Like if you're gonna reject an apology, reject it politely and maturely. Don't tell them to die. Just stop asking for another member on a solo live. If you're that desperate for your faves, just leave and wait for their live. Don't 18 none forced you to stay at gunpoint. Why is it not polite to ask about other members if other members are doing live on their social media? Put yourself in these idols' shoes. Imagine you are going home and the first thing your mother or father is asking, where is your sibling? Why isn't your sibling here? When is your sibling coming? What is your sibling doing right now? First of all, why would you know what your sibling is doing right now? Even if you just hand up a second ago, why would you know what your sibling is doing? Then wouldn't you want your mother be happy to see you instead of asking you where your sibling is? Well, for several reasons, really, and it's rude to several people all at once to boot. Let's say you're watching a live and ask about your bias. So first and foremost, you are being rude to the idol doing the live. The topmost reason most will give you is that the idol going live is there so that they themselves can interact with their fans. If the idol in question chooses to discuss their members themselves, that's one thing, but generally solo lives are meant for fans to interact with this particular idol, not to pester about someone who isn't even there. How would you feel if you took the time to allow a group of people a glimpse into your life and all that you saw in the comments was questions about somebody else? As long as writers know where their boundaries lie and can separate reality from fiction, K-pop fanfic is all good. See, K-pop fanfic has existed since the beginning of time, the aforementioned time being first-gen days. At that time, FIC could be as innocent as some girl ending up falling in love with some H.O.T dude, or as dramatic as the exploits of a gang that all happen to be the authors' faves. Since then, nothing has changed, well, except for the fact that gay fanfic and smut are much more common now, and fanfics are still as varied as ever. K-pop FIC is not just cliched Y/N romance or my stepbrother did this nasty thing to me, there's fantasy FIC, sci-fi FIC, horror FIC, and so many more types of creative expression done by K-pop fans. And for me, it's not bad until they stop knowing where the line between reality and fiction lies. But most fanfic writers know that line and do not cross it. Even the shipping ones, odds are if you asked your average FIC writer if they believe, like, Jiangan and Vernon are dating, they'd probably say no. You never know, though, most people, including me, I write FIC, did you know, write FIC for fun. That silly Y/N FIC about a good girl gone bad was probably made for fun, too. Unlike what some people assume, most people are well aware of the fiction part of fanfiction. They don't believe they're mentally dating Jungkook, that NCT is part of the mafia, that Yeonjun is an ancient siren, etc. etc. Now, for the thing you've probably been pestering me about throughout this whole answer, smut. I don't like reading about people having sex in general, but when it comes to real people, I find it a bit creepy. It is not a crime to merely think an idol is sexy, unless they're underage, but why put all this effort into writing about Baekhyun and Chanyeol's BDSM adventures? And why post it? I only try dealing with smut when it's mostly non-smut fanfic and the smut is necessary to the plot, but even then I can't bring myself to read it because when I read, I picture everything in my mind and I just can't picture people doing it without getting uncomfortable. Like saying my man raped me or blah blha like come on y'all be trashing Koreabuzz and olive oil but at the same time writing FFs fantasizing rape I repeat fucking rape. I'm saying this as someone who understands little space and age regression and how people cope with it. I am not part of this community but I do respect it a lot. 3. I think age regression is a great way for people to relieve their stress as well as have fun at the same time, but sadly, it is being used for the wrong meaning in some Wattpad stories. In those that I have read, the way people define age regression is weird. One story is where people say that humans faint when they go into little space. Another story is where age regression is used as a kink. Let me tell you, a kink. Do note, some people do participate in S**soul activities during little space, but in no way should little space be used as a kink. It's stupid how some people can use a method of coping as something so S**soul. In no way is age regression for such a thing, it is to help people with past traumas, stress, severe illness, or mental health disorders. It definitely should not be written for S**soul behavior as it is disrespecting the people part of the little space community. Age regression should never be used for anything S**soul or something along that line. Also, based on my note above saying some people do have S**soul interactions during little space, it is different from calling it a kink. It's showing how stupid and selfish you are, using coping mechanisms for a goddamn kink story. Why would you do that? Many people who are part of the age regression community can get offended by it. It's not just one story I have read, there are multiple stories like it. It's disgusting that something like this could happen because it shows how some people have the goddamn courage to do some things like this, not in a good way. Sometimes if they want to include age regression or anything got to do with age regression in their stories, the writers should research or do their fair share of reading about the topic included if they are not part of the community. It shows how you can respect them even without being a part of them. Some stories do use age regression wisely and are very careful with how they phrase their sentences and how the plot of the story goes, but to the minority of writers who don't understand how the entire sequence of little space works, I hope they will learn. Oh, and there's a bunch of fics that romanticize bad things, but most FIC writers don't approve of that kind of stuff. ATs deserved a ROTY. I'm just saying, I honestly don't know any other group that can have a debut and then 4 comebacks, and not have a single bad song. The killer stage presence, the killer vocals, the energy, the visuals, you deserved a ROTY, but you know, if I say any more I'll get my video mass reported, so let's move on. Comparing or putting Oli London and JYP is disrespectful to JYP. JYP and Oil London have been put together many times for total entertainment purposes. I know that. But don't y'all think it's a bit too much? 'Cause almost every other K-pop fan has at least once compared them. A bit out of context, but those JYP opar jokes are very unfunny now. So are those Oily London ones. So why did I say it's disrespectful to JYP to be compared with the Oil London? Let me break this down. Oli London was an ordinary man who decided to fall in love with Jimin from BTS. They got so obsessed with him that they wanted to look like Jimin. They spent so much money just to look like a K-pop idol. They recently said that they'll be going through DCK reduction to get similar to Asians. They got married to cardboard Jimin and recently got divorced 'cause they fell in love with another TikToker. They've also been learning Korean for so many years. They call themselves transracial. Now why is this wrong? First of all, they're doing this for pure clout. You can't tell me anything else. It was okay, it wasn't, to go through PS but DCK reduction? Seriously? Isn't it kinda insensitive? A freaking adult got married with a cardboard. Why? For clout, or maybe they're having some serious mental problems. They've been learning Korean for so long but still their pronunciation hasn't changed a bit. They haven't learned anything else than few popular and generic phrases. Are they really learning or just using it for attention? They also tell they are Korean. A white man tells they're Korean. If I tell I'm French, will I be? A person can't just change their ethnicity and race. just 'cause they said so. It's all just so fucking dumb and stupid. JYP, on the other hand, is the person who's the founder of JYP Entertainment. He told in an interview that he failed every audition he gave. He even got rejected by SM even though Lee Soo-man asked him to sell his song to him. LMAO, he worked hard and debuted in 1994 with song Don't Leave Me, from the album Blue City. After his rise, he founded the JYP Entertainment in 1997 with the name Taehong Planning Corp. He was the first Asian producer to work with artists in US. From Will Smith to Cassie and Maze. He was the first Korean songwriter to reach the Billboard Hot 100 chart with the Wonder Girls hit Nobody, which debuted at number 76. He worked hard to be where he is. He certainly has some bad stuff connected to him, but he has been probably the best CEO out of the big three. He's strict but cares for his artists. The company spends almost 2 billion won on their each trainee. I don't understand why do y'all compare and put these two people with such contrasting backgrounds and lives. JYP has his own wrong deeds no doubt, but he is nowhere near Oil London. At least he isn't using someone else as a clout. He isn't being insensitive about a race. At least he knows what he's doing, which Oil London clearly doesn't know.